What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49 live on NexGen Sports. You're here with your two hosts, Blake Anthony and Mr. Sean. Coach T, T's 411, Coach Tidsdale. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Another day, beginning of the week. A lot of information to talk about. Let's get right into it, Blake. I mean, there's some topics to jump on right now.
Always. But first, before we do that, we always got to give a shout out to the sponsors. Guaranteed, no hassle, judgment-free cannabis card qualifications to fit any budget. Call 1-833-46-MJDOC. That's 1-833-466-5362. Or just visit mycannabiscard.com. Guerrilla Marketing. Launch or scale your brand or business and digitally dominate the competition with guerrilla marketing products. Now, with that being all said, let's get into some of the topics today. We can talk about March Madness. We could talk about, or unlike March Madness, with all the craziness going on, AB and Playoff Lenny returning. Rob Gronkowski signing to the practice squad, or did he? And all those things like that. And we'll get into that all right here on Sports Talk 49 with Deshun Tisdale and none other than Blake Anthony. So Deshun, what you want to jump into?
Well, listen, one of the major things, because I know we'll probably stick a little bit on football a little bit. Let's touch on this basketball. We got a lot of different avenues in basketball, but one of the major things coming out right now, two top players in the NBA are injured. You know, you got LeBron James with the high ankle sprain, and then you also got Lamar Ball with the wrist. I think the wrist has already put him out for the season, and LeBron James indefinite at this point. So you really have to think, you know, what do those teams do with the deadline approaching? You got to look and say, hey, you know what will these teams do that, okay, I just lost a Lamar Ball. Is there a replacement for him out there? Do you have it already on the squad? I mean, you know, you're a fan. That's your neck of the woods up there. Tell me, I know you've been watching that team and seeing them. Is there a replacement that's already on the roster? Because I know it's going to hurt the chemistry, because he's been having some great chemistry. The young man's been looking like his father was right, to be honest with you. Took him across seas. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, this guy's not doing the right thing for his son. But, you know, he came back and he's already in the league. What's your thoughts on this Ball injury?
LaMelo, his old injury, everybody that knows me knows I'm a Charlotte Hornet fan. Just like I'm not like the Knicks fans with Stephen A. Smith. I'm a Hornet fan. Like ever since they took the training wheels off of LaMelo, he's been an intricate part in that team, along to go with Terry Rozier, Lavonte Graham, as long as with the Martin brothers and things like that. They've found a real continuity with the small ball when they go in, but the hurting of LaMelo wrist injury not only, jeopardizes his rookie of the year, which I think he's earned over the other two that were picked before him and after him, for that matter. I think he's contributed most of that team. They had that team up into the 3-game losing skid. They were up to the 5th seed in the playoffs and now sit at 7th or the 8th spot, losing 3 games to the top teams in the league. So they already do have the players in the backcourt, but what they do lose with him getting injured is the size out of the point guard position. He is at 6'7", 6'8", which Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham are around under the 6'1" category.
I mean, I think he's one of the players that, everyone arguably out of the 3 brothers, people will say, hey, they feel like LaMelo is the best. He's the overall best player. And I think his play this season really kind of cemented where he is. If you don't already have him as the best player, I think his trajectory looks better than the other brothers' trajectory at this point. I mean, you can kind of see where they're at. So what's your thoughts on where his ceiling is right now?
His ceiling is really looking like it's can be wherever it wants to be at. Again, he has the size, he has the passing ability, he has the shooting ability with his confidence in shooting 3-pointers, and his ability to dish the ball out and score without having the ball in his hand, to make plays without the ball in his hand and things like that. So his dad was definitely right. He's the better out of the 3 so far. They're looking that way. Only future can tell what's going to go on after that, but he is definitely looking like a player that's going to be good for a very long time, and a lot of the other teams' players are saying the same thing about him.
Oh, for sure. And I think also as you start looking at, where that team was at, what he can do with that team, I think Charlotte is definitely a place that he can really, grow, kind of cut his teeth with the squad that's there and really build the squad. You talk about right now, 8th place in the East, in standings. This is a team that, and anytime you get a young man that he's able to call Michael Jordan, the GOAT right now, and arguably the best. Now, obviously, I know there's a lot of players, Wilt Chamberlain, Abdul-Jabbar, and all that Bill Russell, a lot have different rings and stuff like that. But listen, in this era that we're in this century right now, Michael Jordan is the GOAT, and everyone else has the argument of proving why they should be the GOAT. Not going to get into that conversation, but when you're calling the GOAT Unc, hey Unc, he saw his comment. He's like, yeah, that's Unc right there. I just talked to him, and that means he's at that comfortable relationship with where Jordan's position is, who he is, and he's going to be able to take whatever it is that Jordan could do for him, or little tidbits to help him to progress that. And if many people usually forget this, Blake, when MJ came into the league, he wasn't the MJ that we know. It was already two seasons in before you really even started to see an emergence out of him. Well, This man is on the fast track, and he's been on the fast track pretty much since high school. So you're just seeing phenomenal player out of him. And I definitely think sky's the limit. Sad that he had an injury, but listen, there's no great story without you having that road to recovery, that redemption story, the way back, the get back. That's the normal for these, tremendous stories, right? So I can't wait to see how he is. But from an emerging star to a solidified star in LeBron James, we're talking about the new argument of, hey, every stat, he is the stat stuffer supreme. He's going around, he has stats on things that most players
stats on stats.
He got stats on stats, where most players are, I just score, I just assist, I just hit threes, I just rebounds. No, LeBron's over here. He's putting a notch on every belt, and he's wearing every hat. You see him do, he's and mind you, you talk about a player like a Magic Johnson from yesteryear that did everything. And people are like, whoa, he's what is he really? LeBron is that times, maybe times 5 or so, where, the team can be based on him. You've seen him in so many different situations where the team can be around him. The team can be an outside shooting team, and he can do that as well. I mean, right now with the Lakers sitting at number 3 in the Western Conference at 28-15, this is a team that they're going to miss LeBron. But what is the effect, do you feel, Blake, of LeBron being out?
But LeBron being out not only affects the Lakers with Anthony Davis, Anthony Davis, still being out with injury. I think him being out hurts the league, because he is the poster mark for the NBA right now over, Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid and everybody like that. But the Lakers you already had a target on their back being the champions of last season and coming into this year. And they're kind of trying to hold on to those top spots coming into the later half of the season, coming into the playoffs coming up. But LeBron James's high ankle injury, is definitely going to hurt that team, because it's going to be tough getting points and production where he's not going to be anymore. They weren't blessed and got the additions that the Brooklyn Nets just added, with adding the young guy out of San Antonio Spurs, and then Blake Griffin and those guys like that. The Lakers are in a pretty tough spot right now.
Listen, fellow. I think this is when you start to see in the league right now, with trade deadline approaching. Trade deadline is Thursday. There's got to be a push to get someone that can come onto your team and help and assist you at this point. You got to look at teams and you say, hey, Brooklyn in the East for where they're at. But listen, they pick up Blake. They picking up pieces that can help them down the stretch. And the NBA is really, in most seasons, is never really how you start out. You can't dig yourself too big of a hole to come out of, a la the Atlanta Hawks and what they've done. But the big portion of this is that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And how you finish is going to be huge for many teams. Trade deadline Thursday. Are you looking to see the Lakers go out and make some type of trade that could, bolster their roster? Or do you think the talent and the depth they have right now is enough to contend to keep them in the place to be, if LeBron has to come back for playoffs?
I think they're looking at finding a trade partner is definitely an option. It's being how, with Anthony Davis being out, as I said earlier, and now LeBron James, you have to consider where they're going to get their points at, because that's a huge gaping hole there. And I'm not sure where they're going to get it, what trade partner they're going to find. What access do the Lakers want to give up to get back? It's going to have to be something pretty substantial, because they did a pretty good job this offseason getting Schroeder and those guys and getting a lot of returning players from last season. So I'm just interested to see what they're willing to give up and what they're willing to trade for.
And I think that's what's going to be huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, just look at this team. You get teams right now. I think I was looking at something with friend of the show from NexGen, Alex Fleming. You can catch him here on NexGen Sports. Alex just sent something out to us, and we were looking at it, and I was thinking to myself, wow, you got Aaron Gordon in Orlando looking to be traded. He's going to be one of those people that are on the trade market coming up. Is he someone that could help a team out? And where do you see the best landing spot for him? And once again, that information was brought to me by Alex Fleming right here on NexGen Sports. Where do you see him? And for the Orlando Magic, who have been in the doldrums for years, I mean, the last time at Orlando Magic was a real just a powerhouse team. I mean, it's been a long time. It may have been Shaquille O'Neal being here a little bit after that, but some just few playoff appearances after that. But right now, this Orlando Magic team that was just starting to get a little bit of continuity and getting a little steam behind them. You give up players like that. Could this team really afford to give up Aaron Gordon?
Well, if you're going to ask that question, then why in the hell did they give up all of Victor Oladipo all them years ago, who has high expectations coming out of Indiana when he was drafted? So, they're moving on with Aaron Gordon. They've had him for all these years now, and, Vucevic was on the block as well. But it doesn't surprise me. Aaron Gordon has never been that guy. He reminds me of a Andre Iguodala with the Sixers, where he was told to be the AI number 2 in Philly. He was more of a Robin. He was never a Batman. The same thing going on with Aaron Gordon. He was never going to be that guy to take this franchise anywhere, and he's never going to be. So it looks like he's going to be moved, and the Magic will pretty much try to find another guy in that forward spot to replace him.
That's when I look at the team. I start looking at these teams and start wondering, hey, no team wants to ever say that they're in a rebuild mode. But sometimes they need to tear the house down and rebuild completely. When they you can't have, rotten beams in the back and good beams in the front. It's not going to support the second level. You want to be a second level playoff team, you got to have 4 corners and 4 beams that are going to substantially hold up the rest of that team to get you to the second tier, which is the playoffs. Perennial playoff teams that go back-to-back playoffs, they have core or foundational pieces, or they've built themselves where they could bring in virtually anyone and fill a position as long as they give you base value. Right now, the Orlando Magic, I haven't seen enough out of them for so many years that it really just, it kind of disappoints me, just to be honest with you, Blake. Where's your feeling on that? I mean, are you looking at this team saying, I knew they would disappoint once again this season?
You said which team again?
The Magic.
Oh, yeah, the Magic. I mean, year in, year out, it's been like that for them. I mean, they made the playoffs. I believe last year, Steve Clifford was found a way to get them to the playoffs. They traded for the young kid out of Philadelphia who's never really shown up and been able to stay healthy, who was a top pick in the draft not so long ago. It doesn't seem that the Magic can get out of their own way, and then the way the season has fallen apart so far this year and coming into now, that's pretty much getting ready for the NBA draft at this point for them, as playoff implications aren't going to happen. So it's just not a good look for Orlando, and they probably find another head coach with Steve Clifford probably is going to be fired at the end of the year as well. What I think.
Listen, look, from one disappointment to another. Let me just change gears here with you, Blake, if we will. We're talking about the NBA, and a lot of things coming up. Once again, trade deadline. We're going to talk about those moves on Friday. Any moves that did happen, we'll have them for you right here. And also, we have 2 great hosts that are that really just take care of NBA, and they're going to give us their special insights as well. So we'll get them. We either have them on the show or we'll have their insight to bring to you guys when we're on the show on Friday. That's for the NBA. But let's talk about another portion of this. There's always the other side. You know, with the movie, with the new movie coming out, the Justice League that just came out, you always got to look at the other side, right? There's always the Bizarro to the Superman, right? There's always the other guy, right? What in the redhead stepchild is the WNBA and women's basketball today? Why is women's basketball treated the way they're treated? Why the WNBA pay such a disparity in pay? I mean, I just over the weekend I was looking at some stat and I forget the player. I want to say I forget her name. I was looking at the stat. Her numbers basically mirror LeBron James' numbers, mirroring his numbers, but her pay was abysmal. I mean, you talk about millions. I think her max was like 250,000 or something of that nature. And I was just like, it was. I want to say she's from is she either from the LA? It
was LA Sparks.
The LA Sparks, yeah. And I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Because I mean, sometimes what happens is, as people and sports fans, we tend to look at everyone and think, oh, they're getting the big bucks. They're on TV. They're getting the big bucks. But when you look at the WNBA, they're getting the same type of sponsorships. Don't think they're not getting sponsors, guys. They're getting sponsors. They're getting endorsement deals. They're getting everything else, but they are getting lowballed. They're getting lowballed. If you're in on any one of these apps, I know you catch us right here on Facebook. Most of you guys frequent the Facebook Marketplace and things of that nature, or any other selling app. Craigslist, whatever it is, right? You get a tag, and you see a tag on there for something that's advertised, and it says no lowballing. The WNBA said no lowballing right under the logo because they lowball.
Show me the money.
Females. I'm telling you, they lowball all these females. I'm telling you, the salaries. I mean, we've seen phenomenal play out of phenomenal play. And listen, you get one of the most famous women basketball players that probably doesn't get the notoriety that she deserves. And Cheryl Miller, I mean, scored over 100 points in one game. I think she scored like 117 or something like that in the game. And it was the game that Reggie Miller dropped his first 40 points. I just happen to be a Reggie Miller fan. And I remember that he told the story. His dad is in the car, and his sister's already in the car. He gets in. He's like, yeah, I scored 40 points tonight. Like, feeling real good, swagging about himself. And she's all calm and stuff in the back. And she's like, how much did you score? Because nobody's going crazy that Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, scored 40 points. And he's like, well, how much did you score? Because nobody acting like they're happy that I put up 40. And, and he was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, I scored 114, 117. I was like, what? I mean, but we talk about her. You go about Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Duncan, and then you bring in now the new age where you have several females that can dunk and that do dunk. The Brittany Griners and all, Brittany Griners, all the ladies right now that are just phenomenal players. And not only are they phenomenal players, if you love basketball, you can watch women's basketball. It is fundamentally sound. Some of the mistakes that men make in the NBA, you don't see in WNBA mistakes. They play really fundamentally sound. You don't get all of the dunks, but you get absolute great basketball. So if you really like basketball at its purest form, I would argue to say WNBA has very pure basketball, and any basketball enthusiast will love to watch WNBA games for the most part. That being said, these women are just not being paid, and it is definitely tragic. And I think when we look at women's basketball as a whole, even from the college ranks, you start looking at the college ranks, and I think Kyrie had the I don't know if we have it, but if you had that, Kyrie had the presser, and they were talking about he was just going over just how the disparities is, and I'm like, I could only think, okay, we look at March Madness. Do you really think the women's basketball teams can't garner the same type of just notoriety and attention if they're promoted as such? Guys, don't make no mistake about it. This is the same thing that happens to NFL teams, but just on a bigger level. If there's NFL teams that are small market teams that do great, a la Tampa Bay. We're Tampa Bay fans here. Small market team, never going to get the same TV time as the Dallas Cowboys. Although the Dallas Cowboys have losing season after losing season, the players on Tampa Bay will not get the same notoriety as Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Jets, even losing seasons, still won't get the same notoriety. I would argue that they'll take a new team and just let that new team get a lot more press than a team that is a small market, just because, you know, it's either fresh and new. There's some conundrum or something of that nature happening. This is just the nature of sports. Either I want to say sports politics, if you will, or the preparation of how they want to show it. So I think women's basketball as a whole, just the female gender in sports, just don't get the notoriety that it definitely deserves. And that's we're just touching on a little bit here, guys, just to let you know. You guys look at it, check us out in the comments, comment and let us know. But I'm just saying it does not look like they're getting the same promotion. They definitely don't seem to be getting the same respect, because when you tell me you respect the player, you don't mind giving them the monetary compensation. Hey, you know what? They got to make it rain for those players. Can we get that? Can I get a little rain?
You want a little money?
Like, I want to see how the WNBA players, they want to see it rain. They want to see it rain. They need the same thing that you give it. There we go. Let it fall, baby.
Woo! Show me the money. Show me the money.
Show me the money. You know it. You know it.
That's really what it is. And I think you hit a lot of things on the head. I had last year when I had a conversation about soccer players, the women's soccer team, same conversation, not marketed, not making money. And we know, I understand, I think you and I both understand, a lot of people understand how it works. You have to be marketable to make money. You have to have people watching the show to make money. And we get how that works. That's why you bring up them not being marketed well and put in the best opportunity to make more money, and which I think is a very fair assessment. Not saying that they'll get the money that men's basketball will make, but it's definitely open. It should be open for a conversation on find ways to get more revenue for these females, because if you're going to open up that door and let try to have women's sports and try to make it professional and have these females that are growing up feel like they really have an opportunity to make a decent living playing a sport that they love, then you got to really do the best that you can. And the first person you got to look at is the league commissioner that's running that, and what he's doing to help market that.
Listen, that's it. And I'll say this, and then I'm going to jump on something else. I think you hit it exactly on the head. You really have to look at the commissioner, because I think the WNBA league commissioner has to spearhead to get the players in the WNBA in front of the same fan focus. Listen, there's millions and millions of women out here that not only would love to watch the sport, but you got to think, how do they promote? How do they promote? When you get on sports shows, they direct to the audience that's there. They're not even directing to the audience, so you can't tell me they can't market it. If they needed to market, maybe they're having a problem, marketing. They need to go ahead and get and contact one of the sponsors of our show, Gorilla. we can sponsor the WNBA. We can kind of not sponsor them, but we can put that out, market for them, and get the correct marketing where they can start bringing in the revenue, where they can pay these ladies, and that's it. That's just it. And listen, we know someone else has marketing that we're going to jump into this next one here. We start talking about small markets.
Yeah,
people are known. Listen, friend of the show, 5'4" Lavonte David. You talk about marketing. Now we have Shannon Sharp talking about Lavonte David and what he said or what he shouldn't say. And we're coming from a small market. Remember, when you get to the podium and it's your opportunity to be at the podium, everyone then is listening to what you have to say. It doesn't mean you weren't saying it on your soapbox before. Right. You weren't saying it from a soapbox. You weren't at the podium.
Right.
You have that. Do you have that, Blake, what Shannon Sharp was saying?
Absolutely. Check it out.
Check it out,
spoils. I mean, that's easy to say after you won, but I never heard Lavonte David. I never heard anybody say anything after the first matchup. Why didn't they talk like this after the first matchup? Skip, what team, if you don't batter their quarterback, you don't win the game? Lavonte David made it seem like he was breaking news. Like, what we did is that we got off to the head of the snake, which is Patrick Mahomes. We battered that, and we took them out of the game. Tom Brady, when he was sacked more than 3 times, they were 1-3 in those ball games. Wow. Who knew? Now, this is the same Lavonte David that was crying after the NFC Championship game. Now he's on top of the mountain, beating his chest. Look at us. I never heard, in 9 years, I never heard Lavonte David say one word. Win the Super Bowl, and now you can't stop talking. I got no problem, Skip. I ain't got no problem, but you're not breaking no news. Right-handed quarterback, Skip. I come out here every day. Right-handed quarterback, you keep him from rolling right. You make him roll to his left to throw against his body. You played, okay, you played single, two deep safety, but you played a box in one. Lavonte David know he has help over the top, so he can be as physical as he need to be with Travis Kelce. He did a fabulous job, but bruh, why all this talking now? After the first game, I didn't hear a word. Michael Jordan used to say, hey, don't talk after the game. Say, be that man that talked before the game. I have more respect for you. I needed to hear this before the game. I needed to hear this after the first game. Now, after you win, y'all do all this talking. Come on, bruh. We know, like I said, to the victor go to sport. One thing they say about me, I'm going to talk regardless. I'm going to talk before the game, I'm going to talk during the game, I'm going to talk after the game. But this, all of a sudden, Lavonte David, tell me the time, Skip. Give me one quote in 9 years you heard Lavonte David say before Tom Brady set foot in Tampa. Give me one quote.
You got me there.
One thing he said in the paper. Send me a quote, somebody.
Yep.
Now they win the Super Bowl. We the baddest. We better than we on some different type of stuff. So what were you on? So you was on some bull jive the first time, huh? That's the problem that I got, Skip. They won. Fair and square. They beat him down. Do I believe had they had Fisher, had they had Schwartz, do I believe Tampa would have won the game still? Probably. Do I believe it would have looked like this? No, I don't. Give Tampa credit. But now, man, they're doing a lot of revisionist history. Because if I didn't know better, Tampa been playing like this for the last 7-8 years, Skip. This was 1 year. So in other words, you're telling me you only gonna talk if you win. I don't need that false bravado. I need you to talk going into the game. I need you to talk during the game. I need you to say exactly what you said on that podcast. I need you to say that after the game. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that after Chicago. He didn't say nothing after the Rams. He said nothing. Only after they won the final, and I get it, Skip. Like I say, to the victor goes the spoil. But don't give me this now you beating your chest. We King Kong ain't got nothing on us.
Who was the favorite in the Super Bowl?
Skip. I get.
Don't you just sort of let sleeping dogs?
No, Skip. If he was that confident, now he guaranteed it. So how confident is he? He guaranteed it now, but he wouldn't say a word then. Oh, I see. I see how this work. He ain't real with this talk thing. Skip, like I said, 9 years in Tampa, he's been a great player, said nothing. There been a lot of great players that didn't talk. There been a lot of great players that did talk. But now all of a sudden, he got a Super Bowl ring. They won, fair and square. Now woo! Yeah, we was on some different type of bleep. So I guess the first time around, y'all was on that bull jive. Come on, don't do this. You talking to somebody that talked his whole 14-year career and backed it up. I ain't just talk when we won. Talk before we got there. Man, stop.
Okay.
As I told.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I'm fired up. I'm just as fired up as him right now. Because
thoughts.
Listen, we saying talk, right, Blake? First and foremost, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, should he not be his chest? As I've been watching people go back to back, all I ever hear when teams win back to back, I see you, Rasul. Beat your chest, 5'4". Beat your chest. Let's go. Because listen, all these years in Tampa, I haven't seen a Mike and Lavonte David's face. He's been getting snubbed for Pro Bowls constantly because we picking not fan favorite.
Uh-oh. Sean, you there, buddy? He was going hard too. I already know what he's going to say. All these years that he's been in this league and undervalued, been Pro Bowl snubbed, All Pro snubbed, undervalued. Like they I don't know who it is. Like, I guess it's just got to be it can't be the market. Well, it's got to be the market. It can't be because at first it was the team was bad. Then it was the market. So now when the team's not bad anymore and they win the Super Bowl, and only time now you want to talk about them is in a negative light. So it has to tell me that it has to do something with the market. So being all these years of this guy being undervalued for guys who clearly weren't better than him or were just as good as him, now he has the only chance that he's got to really talk about himself and talk about the great things that he does is because it's when after he wins a Super Bowl. That is the only time that he had a chance to talk about that. And Lavonte David is not going to talk smack if he's on all these losing teams, but you're giving 120% in all those games, regardless of what the situation may have been. He performed to the ability that he needed to perform to, regardless of all the other players on the team did not do so. So why would he talk trash? Why would he? Shannon, unfortunately, you were never on losing teams. Yeah, you had reason to talk. You knew that if you played well and your other guys played well in your teams, they were going to win. Lavonte David did not have that opportunity. He came in here around coaching changes after coaching changes. He has no idea what they're going to win year to year. They have expectations and things that they're going to try to they'll try to do, but they can't. You knew that you weren't going to win every year. Quarterback changes. Then you got Jameis Winston here. You had the high expectation going 9-7 in the second year and thought things were trending northward. We'll get Deshun back here right quick. He was going so hard that I guess the social media spirits kicked him out. Let's get him back in here. There you go.
Listen, hold on. Y'all be easy. Be easy. Don't snatch me up off this thing just yet. I guess I was going too hard for the hard, bro.
Man.
Go ahead. You were going into it. Go ahead.
Listen, man, I cannot believe you get on players when this player has been winning statistically all of his 9 years. He does not have a drop-off. We run around, give accolades and these fake paper awards, these fake participation trophies to these dudes that don't do the work. This dude's been putting in the work and been line him up. Show me the linebackers that are so much better than him. Look at Bobby Wagner. We're talking about stats. We are garnishing Bobby Wagner as he is the number one. But look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. A 6 and a 9 may look the same if you lay them on their side, but they're not the same. Lavonte Davis out here putting in work from 5'4" to 4'5". This Tampa Bay Buccaneer team arguably got the best linebackers in the league, and the numbers don't lie about that. The number, you can talk what you want. The numbers ain't lying. The numbers not lying. You see the work he's putting in. You see the work. And the tandem is even better. So you see the work. How could you even doubt this dude? Somebody call Ron Butler, and he need to have this dude out talking more. He need to have him out talking more. You know why? Because this is not a product of the fact that he's talking now. It's a product because he hadn't talked before. Because he was to put his head down and just go to work, dude, he finally got the payoff. You mean to tell me that after this dude been in the league 9 years, been getting stats and never got respected for it, and he finally got somebody tag Lavonte right now. Somebody tag him in this. You trying to tell me he been in the league 9 years? He's never gotten the accolades that he deserved. Y'all gonna give him a little, somebody else can play, so we're gonna just throw you in and let you be in.
Yeah, he made Pro Bowl as an alternate.
Exactly. You're gonna give him an alternate when you know that he deserves it. But yet, after 9 years, you of everybody, Mr. Sharp, you want to say, oh, he was crying after they won the first. Dude, you know how many people was emotional after they win their playoff game? They've been in the league all the time.
Yep.
This could have been a career. It's dudes out here that their career is shorter than 9 years, especially at a full contact position, undersized in comparison, and he's a contact position player. Come on. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that you want to talk about his emotions. No, Shannon. You take an L for that. I think you take an L at this one because, listen, he's done what he needed to do. And you said it. To the victor goes the spoils. And guess what? All's fair in love and war. So the fact that they won at this point, they can talk that junk all the way to next season because they are and they still will be the Super Bowl champions of this season. So they can talk that talk all the way until there's a new Super Bowl champion. And the fact that him saying it, listen, if anybody came out and told you their game plan, you would then say they was a fool for telling you their game plan. Correct. So that's loaded for you to say that. Oh, he wasn't talking after they lost the first game. They had how many games to go before they could start talking? They literally lost the first game by 3 points. Yep. What are we talking about?
After being down 17-0.
After being down. So what are we talking about? Listen, catch me at this team when they don't do good this year, and then talk to me. but they have an opportunity bringing their players back with Tom Brady in an offense that most quarterbacks in this offense throw a high number of interceptions the first year and then progress tremendously after. So
Right.
he did not have the same number of interceptions as other quarterbacks. You know he's well. He showed you he can do everything and make every throw. You could only see this team getting better. So when they start bringing back their pieces on defense, just keep the copy of this tape, because you know what? Many people at the beginning of this playoff run, everybody they was just counting Tampa out, count Tampa out. Then when you got to the Super Bowl, all you just saw was, oh, Chiefs. They don't care. It didn't matter that the Chiefs didn't have their tackles. That didn't matter when they was picking the Chiefs. So now after Tampa won and y'all didn't pick us, and Tampa won and Tampa started just, pounding their chest and talking their talk, don't say nothing. Keep that same energy. Don't say nothing. That's it, man. Let's Tom Ford do what he do.
Absolutely. And I think you've killed that. And I just want to add this. You went out, so I didn't know if you heard me. Why would somebody talk after year in after year out after coaching change? I think Lavonte is the one thing he really said on Twitter, and I remembered it distinctively, was when they fired Lovie Smith and had Dirk Cutter came over. He said he had three or four new head coaches and multiple coordinators with the change. So there really wasn't much to be excited about. Why would he talk trash? Shannon Sharp, speaking from a guy who never played on a losing franchise. You went from the Denver Broncos to the Baltimore Ravens and won Super Bowls with them. You didn't have to worry about who your head coach was coming in next year. You didn't have these things to worry about that Lavonte David had to work out. And I'm not just saying this as we talk about Tampa Bay. These are just facts here, that this guy's put in and year out, came into the same draft as Bobby Wagner. And I said, and was not making the same amount of money as guys like Bobby Wagner and guys that are less than linebackers for him. So always the excuse was they're on losing teams or they're in bad markets. So they won. So now it's the bad market is the excuse now, because they won the Super Bowl and they did it defensively. Mm-hmm. So before the last thing I want to put, I said he put 9 years in the league to win the Super Bowl. It's only right that the numbers on his chest represent how many years it took to win the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. It's crazy how adversity finds ways to send out signals to this world that 5 and 4 equal 9, and it took that many years for him to win the Super Bowl. So he can say whatever the hell he wants. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's earned the right to say so. He has the accolades to say so. And in my opinion, you'll be talking about this guy when it comes to Canton time.
There you go. Listen, we know it. He needed those numbers. He needed the Super Bowl. They would not give him the Pro Bowl. They're never going to give him the Pro Bowl like that. He needed the Super Bowl to solidify a spot. And when you start counting his numbers, the numbers don't lie. The numbers are not up for debate. You can't look at the numbers sideways. They read what they read. So I think definitely with him, as far as it comes to Lavonte David, there's no arguing about that. But as we transition from him, let's go on the offensive side of the ball with the same Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. A lot of changes being happening around the league. A lot of people signing, and a lot of pieces are getting picked up. So you look at the offensive side, and a couple of pieces that haven't been brought back from the offensive side in Tampa are Antonio Brown and Leonard Fournette. And I saw a tweet, if I believe it was a tweet that came out from AB this week, saying I think he said him and Lenny's going to get it together or something to that tune. Did you see that? Did you happen to see that, Blake, or catch that?
Yeah, he said him and Playoff Lenny, we're going to get it together. I'm actually trying to pull that video up now. It was on a Instagram live feed.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That this was said. Give me a second here. Trying to pull this up. I had to change the format to play this on here. Here we go. All right. Don't know, but yeah, we'll talk about it while we're doing that. Yeah, it's him and Playoff Lenny are working out together currently right now. They're working out together, which is a good thing. These guys got their mindset on winning another Super Bowl or coming out to make, ultimately it's about getting paid. Ultimately, that's what it's about. So that's what these guys are out here working. Antonio Brown is just at the end of the spectrum versus Leonard Fournette is kind of still at the beginning of still coming off his first rookie contract in his career. Antonio Brown, is in the older category and trying to make as much money as you can.
Yeah.
before he decides to exit the league. Here we go. I actually got this up. I had to figure out another way.
Okay.
We'll add this here.
I'm gonna say back, AB. I need you back in the court, man. Me and Playoff Lenny gonna work this out. Please, bro. I'm gonna say back.
Yep.
You heard it first. You heard it first. He said we're gonna work this out. That means, listen, he knows they're in talks. And a lot of the big questions about Antonio Brown had been whether or not he needed to break the bank right now, whether he was going to come back to Tampa. What does that number look like? Obviously, he wants to get paid. He's made a lot of money in the league, but he was someone that when he came to Tampa, it wasn't a guarantee that everybody was going to touch him. Many teams didn't reach out to him. They didn't move on him because, you know, he has a lot of baggage. And whenever you get a player that has a lot of baggage, you know, teams are very skeptical about moving on those type of players because they don't want to upset their current pot that they're working with. But you see what it is. They're working out together. So they're in the gym, in the lab, it's focused there, and they're working out together. For Playoff Lenny to be getting this work in right now, obviously coming off of that rookie contract, got picked up on a 1-year prove-it deal right here in Tampa Bay, and he proved it. He proved it. So for a back his size, many people that if you didn't know about it, he in the season, I want to say it was just before the playoff run, Leonard Fournette went to Tampa Bay Buccaneer coach Bruce Arians and said, "Hey, am I going to start? I want to start. I want basically, I want to be the bell cow. I want to carry the load." Coach told him he could keep walking. If he couldn't fall in line, he could take a walk. And then he I guess he decided at that point that he would fall in line and play his position. And lo and behold, 1 week later, you get an injury by Ronald Jones, and then he's thrusted into the starting role. And not anything against him. He was patient, and he spoke up probably just too soon. But everything happens for a reason. He was patient, and then what do you know? He went right into the starting role, and then he got the role, got the opportunity. Many of y'all out here, whenever you get that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. Playoff Lenny got that opportunity, took full advantage of it, got himself a Super Bowl ring, did what he needed to do.
It's exactly, you hit that right on the spear, hit that right on the head. He got the opportunity, didn't look back, and that's literally what he did. He took that starting spots and never looked back. Ronald Jones never had a chance to take that back from him, in my opinion. Leonard Fournette was the back that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed coming into the later half of that season, into the playoffs, and Leonard Fournette showed you why he was a top pick back coming into that draft when he came out. So, yes, I think Leonard Fournette basically tried Bruce Arians to see what he was going to say, saw Arians was not going to budge, and told him he could take a walk if that's the case, because Tampa Bay really had what I say when Leonard Fournette came in, it was low risk, high reward picking up Leonard Fournette. They could cut him or keep him. It wouldn't hurt them either way. Same thing with Antonio Brown. You're not paying much for them. They have everything to gain from this. And the Buccaneers could afford to let him go if it didn't work out and just move on. You just had to deal with the bad press. But that's the least of your problem as long as they don't do anything damaging to your football team, which they didn't. Antonio Brown stayed as a model citizen to the team. So does Leonard Fournette. They played the position, sat the bench, didn't complain. So I really got nothing bad to say about either one of them. I can't be mad that they want to make more money. That's their prerogative, and they have the right to do so. So I applaud them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Listen, we got exactly what we were supposed to get out of them. They definitely helped the team in the times that they could help them. And if you want to run it back or you want to go for two, then you got to look at this team and say, hey, can a Leonard Fournette help us? Can an Antonio Brown help us? If you had to pick one, then you have to say, hey, how will I fill the position that the other player filled? So we will. You look at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you'll say, hey, there definitely should be down Shady McCoy this year. So that'll be one space in the running back room that'll be available. Then you have whatever the position that Leonard Fournette plays, which is going to be a bigger, more physical back. That running back could be in the draft. That if you didn't want to pay what Leonard Fournette is looking for, keep in mind for Leonard Fournette, this is a different perspective for him. Him and AB, even though they're working out together, they're not at the same tenure in their career. AB is at where he's at, but Leonard Fournette coming off of the rookie contract and then a 1-year prove-it deal. In his 1-year prove-it deal, he proved it. He went ahead, showed up in the playoffs, showed himself to be dominant, physical, everything that you want, got a ring for it. Teams are very happy to go behind people that just came off Super Bowl teams. They love to do it. Teams love to do it all the time for many more than just one reason, not just a production, but they want that type of player and that energy coming to their locker room. Maybe their locker room doesn't have it. And once you get enough of that energy coming to your locker room, a la Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, JPP, you got enough Super Bowl energy in your locker room. It gravitates you to raise your level. And that seems to be what happened in Tampa, bringing in all this talent. And maybe other teams want to do that. So for Leonard Fournette, the door's a little bit more open for him, in my opinion. I think Blake and Antonio Brown, it really comes to question, can he get substantial money from Tampa? The fact that they franchise tag Chris Godwin.
Show me the money.
That's it. And then they also have Mike Evans. It's kind of crowded in the receiver room with top tier talent.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in the wide receiver room with players coming out. And we'll get more into mock drafts and things like that and talking about each division coming on each show, talking about each division in the league and what their draft needs are and players coming out. I'll try to bring out some mock drafts for you too. I actually did one. I got it ready for who currently right now I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should pick up if the draft had started today. Sure. But especially you're going to have to find a big back to replace Leonard Fournette. And the guy I really think about replacing.
What's up, everybody? This
is this big back right here out of Oklahoma. Big back out of here. I think you can get him in the later rounds of the draft. I think Tampa Bay could replace Playoff Lenny. Like I said, it's early now. It's when mock drafts are fun. You can do all this right now with not knowing what's going on right now with guys returning. I did put on Twitter today that Ndamukong Suh did sign his contract March 26th of last season. Being how he likes to market himself and talk to teams. So that's why it takes a little bit longer with Ndamukong Suh. He's not really going through an agent and things like that. So you'll see. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know. It could be to return to Jerome McCoy. Who knows? But that's a conversation.
I think Ndamukong Suh just goes for those dinners. He just goes for those dinners, man. Because when you go to a city, you talk to a new coach, you get all those dinners. But with this guy right here, Stevenson out of Oklahoma, 247, 6-foot running back. I mean, the load and the power. If he is not a replacement for Playoff Lenny at the great rookie price, depending on what round he falls into, it can only help Tampa. I do believe that you see Tampa pick up a back. I don't know if they pick up two, but I could definitely see him picking up one running back. The tight end room is pretty full as well for Tampa. So you can see a lot of the pieces being needed on offensive and defensive line as far as either depth or rotation there. And then on defense, you need true outside linebacker that could help and back up and, kind of potentially groom for a JPP position, things of that nature. And also a true backup because Tampa did re-sign Kevin Minter. So, that backup linebacker, but you need the understudy at this point as well. And that understudy could be a year off. So they may not choose to fill that position and kind of stay with Chappelle Russell or was it Cam Gill or someone of that nature?
Quentin Bell, those guys. And those are all undrafted guys that were picked up and project players to see how they develop. In the mock draft, I'll bring that all out money. We'll get more into depth in that coming in the week since the draft is at the end of April. I think I added up if we do each show talking about a division, it should equal up a week before the draft. So it should be interesting talking about getting to some of these players. If you guys follow us on NexGen Sports, I got draft profiles coming with each position. As you see, I just put up the running backs. The running backs were first. I just put up defensive linemen. It's going to be tough picking up them because a lot of those guys did opt out in the season because of COVID. There's a lot of studs there, and I think if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can get two of the guys I got rated high and could fit Todd Bowles' system, Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have one of the most dominant off defensive lines for a very long time, especially with all the expiring contracts coming up with William Golston, Jason Pierre-Paul, and many more coming up next year after it expires. But that's pretty much we got into all that today. Is there anything else you want to drop in before we get out of here?
Oh, just before we get out of here, hey, I want to thank my wife. Took that little girls trip out to Cabo and brought this back for me along with some other things. And I just want to tell you, hey, thanks a lot, babe. I love you. Love the family, and thanks for supporting me with everything that you do. And that's it, guys. You know, catch me, Coach T here. We'll be out this weekend once again. I think we travel to Tennessee this weekend with Siete Fuerte. Big tournament out there, 7-on-7. Trying to get some video for you guys. I'll get that video to you, Blake. Some of the amazing things that these young men are doing out there. A lot of college scouts out there in this COVID weather, and some areas are breaking out of COVID and, you know, kind of mixing it back up, getting that football feel back to it. But just catch me on Coach T, same thing, Coach T's 411. Yeah, you catch me on Instagram, catch me on Twitter, same handle. And I'll follow you back and post something. Let me know. Get the stuff up there. But it's been great with you, Blake, here today. As always, I'll jump out so you can end it as you always do.
You're right.
And you know this, man.
Yep. See you Friday. Deshaun jumped out. Deshaun always trying to steal my thunder. Shame on him. Great show today, guys. Talking about everything. Talking about it. We'll get more coming up. You know, as the weeks progress, we'll talk about more that's going on, everything in the league, and keep you guys updated with guys, you know, signing with other teams or whatever the Buccaneers are looking at. I think I really want to get Lavonte David, see if he wants to talk about Shannon Sharp's comments at him. See if he wants to talk about that. I know he's not a huge guy that talks in the media. Having on here was a blessing, literally, after he re-signed his contract, and I'm thankful for it. But we'll get out of here, and we'll bring you guys more on Friday. But we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Follow NexGen Sports Media on Facebook and all social media sites. Follow me at Blake Anthony 49 on all social media platforms. And you're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons.